The left will never stop their agenda to take over America. You are their enemy, and they will not negotiate. Prepare yourselves. Welcome to the Blue Shark Show with your host, Mike Lang.
Let's move to the state level and talk about AG Ken Paxton. And in my opinion, it was a coup in the House, speaker-led coup, and you had Andy Murr involved, you had Briscoe Cain involved, you had Jeff Leach involved, and they came up with this, in my opinion, a coup to impeach the Attorney General and send all this to the Senate, all during what this Attorney General's been a strict conservative. He's gone after the Biden administration. He's done great things for the border, and now they're attacking him. And I have my reasons, I think, of why that the Speaker of the House kind of went after him after he put something on, Twitter about him possibly being drunk up there on the dais. So what do you think, Nate?
Well, I think that it was definitely a case of political persecution. Ken Paxton, I have so much respect for that man because he's been under a federal indictment for about 8 years on some other trumped-up charges related to securities or something or another, that it's like if it's been out there for that long and they hadn't done anything, maybe that should tell you something. So that wasn't good enough, okay, to have that over Ken Paxton. The House of Representatives, and a political opportunist, I think, like Briscoe Cain in this instance, took this as an opportunity to not only undo
before you get I mentioned Briscoe and you mentioned Briscoe. Doesn't that just surprise the heck out of you?
I was so very disappointed in Briscoe. I actually met him working your campaign several years ago, and he was funny and, all this stuff. But I think it could be another case of a conservative getting elected. And after a number of years, kind of like Mark Twain said, you got to change them out as often as you do diapers.
Yeah, that one, I could see, Rep. Leach and Andy Murr and those guys, but I just, to see Briscoe doing that, you got to think, what were you thinking during the House process that was going on when you didn't swear anybody in under oath? You're looking at hearsay from, 2 people removed, and you don't have any evidence except for, you have the Democrats and Andy Murr and some of the others just yelling, hey, this, and this is wrong.
Well, and I read it in the Texas Tribune, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I said it and then read it in the Texas, Trib, and that's the way it goes. And, we've been after the Texas Trib, and they're, far left-leaning publication, far left, kind of like, what we have here in town. But, going back to Ken Paxton and the way this kind of transpired and got out of the House and, of course, went to the Senate.
And it should have never been in either chamber.
No.
If there was a case, it should have gone to law enforcement and the normal judicial system. The fact that this was a political trial, I think, speaks volumes. And we saw it all play out in the Senate, finally.
And really, once it got to the Senate, what did they do? They treated it just like it was a trial. So they bring people in and they place them under oath. And they start saying, okay, let's go. And how many counts? Do they have 20-something counts?
I think it was 20 articles of impeachment right around there. Yes, sir.
And so they did a final vote. And if you haven't seen any of that trial, go find it on YouTube. It's very interesting to watch. And I haven't watched all of it yet, but I've watched most of it. And for yourself, you go look and see how you would have voted after you see the whole proceeding, and you'll come to the conclusion, if you're sane, that was just a farce. That was a sham. That's nothing but a political hit. Go look at that trial, that impeachment trial, and look at YouTube and how it went.
It really reminded me of Nazi Germany and the Star Council and all these Banana Republic type trials. That was not a trial until it got to the Senate, fortunately.
And, the attorneys on there for Paxton just got up there and made mincemeat out of these, supposed people and whistleblowers. And
Tony Busby, that's
the guy. Yeah.
His nickname in the legal community and now in the media is the Buzzsaw. And it's because he cut right through all their...
He did. He did an excellent job. That was a great pick for an attorney for, AG Paxton. But go to the Senate and please watch it. I can't say that enough. During this whole trial impeachment affair, you had Republicans coming out, and I think there was 23 that voted against it in the House. And Glenn Rogers voted for it.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he's way out there, and he used to be over here in Granbury. But
fortunately, Shelby Slauson voted against sending it to the Senate.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I'm glad she did, but I'm surprised she did. But I'm glad there. And, once the trial was over, the impeachment proceedings, our senator did a good job. And he voted, I think, the way the trial went. And he's got something online you can read. But I'm going to read part of what Senator Brian Birdwell wrote. And please go online and read the whole thing if you want. But the last paragraph, he says, after hearing the evidence provided by both sides, now, we had a trial over there, and they actually heard evidence, put people under oath. I made my decision to vote against the removal of Ken Paxton as Attorney General of Texas. The witnesses, under direct and cross-examination from both sides of counsel, provided sufficient reasonable doubt concerning the charges laid out in the articles of impeachment and did not meet the standard required to remove Mr. Paxton from office. Now, that was, Senator Brian Birdwell. Good job. I would like to say that I am surprised, but after seeing that, part of that, trial, it's like, how could you not? I mean, just under the Constitution, how could you not say, we're not going to impeach this guy?
It was wild to see how the narrative changed, because before, when the House rushed through in a matter of days.
Yeah, 3 days, I think it was.
Yeah, 3 days, and sent it over to the Senate. They started pushing this line like, oh, wait till you see the evidence. Wait till you see the evidence. Well, we waited, and we saw the evidence, and there wasn't jack squat as far as, the articles of impeachment.
And I hear that quite a bit around here from some of the, I guess you can call them Democrats or
That's a Marxist tactic. Just wait until you see. Oh, if you knew what I knew.
Yeah. And you see that on social media. Oh, you just wait. Oh, wait, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And, of course, it never does. And then you get placed under oath. But even from the beginning, the whole sham of, going through the House and whatnot, you had Matt Rinaldi, who's the Texas GOP chair. And they put out some, mailers and whatnot. And I think a lot of this, of course, all the Democrats, were for the impeachment. But a lot of this, it has to do with trying to damage the Texas AG and damage what he's doing on a national level.
Well, sure. He's been fighting Big Pharma. He's been helping secure the border. He went after Obama when he first got in office. He solidified Trump to the extent he could when Trump was in office. And now he's going after Biden. Ken Paxton is hands down the most effective attorney general in the entire United States.
And he is, the best attorney general in the United States. And from pretty much the beginning, the GOP chair of Texas, Matt Rinaldi, along with many of us, knew this was a sham to begin with about not placing people under oath and whatnot. But here's a quote from Matt Rinaldi, GOP chair. The Republican Party of Texas stands with Attorney General Ken Paxton and the millions of Texans voters who helped him soundly defeat his Democrat opponent last November. Now Democrats, unhappy with Paxton's lawsuits, like we were saying, questioning the 2020 election results, and that's another one, are teaming with liberal Republicans to undo the decision of Texas voters and remove him from office. We can't let that happen. Now, that's coming from your GOP chair of the state of Texas and brings up another, the elections. And the Democrats were just along with the liberal Republicans, were chomping at the bit to get him out.
Yeah, and, we see this all too often. It reminds me of at the start of this most recent legislative session, there was a big push to not have Phelan be the speaker again. There was a big push to not have Democrats chair powerful committees to kill Republican priority legislation. This is yet again another example of the swamp, deep state, traitorous Republicans, liberals, whatever you want to call them, wolves in sheep's clothing, teaming up with the Democrats to try to take out conservatives.
It's politically motivated impeachment. And you find that on every level. You find it at the national, the state, and even local level, and what's trying to be done. And I even look at, and we talk about local level here a lot, I look at the local level when we talk about social media, because that's where a lot of people, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whatever it may be, and they try to get out their opinions, which is great. We all, like the political activists, no matter what side you're on, get it out, put out the truth, but people have to do their own research on what is truth and what really isn't truth. Mm-hmm. When I see so-called Republican groups and Republican people talking about Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick or the AG or what's going on in the Senate and how bad it was and what a crook, he is or they are, they're not true Republicans following the Constitution at all.
No, they have a disagreement on policy because they are Marxist, and they will use any measure possible to try to silence, imprison, or otherwise get rid of their political adversaries. They like the Biden policies on this or that. They like the liberal policies on this or that, and they will weaponize the government against good, solid conservatives. And the funny thing about doing that is when they do that, while in the beginning there may be a certain percentage of people that have a tendency to believe what they read in the media for whatever reason, and it discredits them in the beginning, but like a boomerang, it comes right back. Mm. And usually, and I would suspect in Ken Paxton's case and other people here at a local level, it comes back to bite the Marxists right in the behind.
And that's what it is. Like it or not, we'll see what happens now. I mean, he did an interview with Tucker, and that should be on pretty soon, and I'd like to see what comes of that. I'd like to see now in the future, moving forward, what A.G. Paxton is going to do. He may be involved in Trump things. Who knows what he may do after this? Because I think they took their shot and they missed. And I hope there's some cleaning of the House. And when I mean cleaning of the House, I mean the Speaker of the House.
And the House of Representatives, scumbags like Glenn Rogers. Unfortunately, in this instance, some people that formerly were conservatives, too.
You have your big voting issues, and you're not going to be 100% with, whether it's Paxton, whether it's Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. But when they stand and they fight for the right things like the border, the elections, and all the things we mentioned before, then you support them. But when you go out and you hammer somebody like this that we, the people of Texas, elected, then we've got a problem.